Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the September 10th, 2025 meeting of the Fond du Lac City Council. The first item of business is roll call, which is done electronically, and I will declare a quorum present with us all here. The next item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, which is followed by a moment of silent reflection. Please rise. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Next on our agenda is public hearings, and we have none, so we will move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda finalizes the proposed actions for the meeting. A, August 27th, 2025 minutes. B, list of claims dated September 3rd, 2025. And C, denial of claim, claimant Carlicia Lederer. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Godfrey, second by Mr. Heisler. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. All right, and that passes unanimously. Next on our agenda is audience comments, agenda and non-agenda items. The presiding officer will limit speaking time for non-agenda items to 1 minute and items noticed on the agenda to 5 minutes. Ms. Hefter, do we have anyone wishing to speak? And we have a couple, so we will start with Donna Richards, who wishes to speak on agenda item 5B, resolution 9202.
Yes, thank you very much.
Could you,
There we go.
I don't think
thank you.
I will take very much of your time, but I'll take as much as I need, hopefully. I just wanted to clarify a few things. I think that this resolution is premature. It has been at least 4 years since the public has heard anything on this issue whatsoever. And here there's an action being requested to move forward to spend a lot of dollars and move forward on a property that we know very little about at this point. I can just say that when this issue was on council, previously I was on council, and when it went to appeals, I thought it was over, but I don't think very many people in this community know the result of the Court of Appeals decision, which is a real important decision, and then what happened since then, which there was supposed to be subsequent court action, and then what has happened since then, which it appears that there has been some work done on the building. Who knows what's going on? But when you're talking about eminent domain, you're talking about spending market price for the property, which includes the huge lot across the street as well, I assume, because I think it's on the same deed. And then
Excuse me, Ms. Richards, could you make sure you're speaking into the mic? So
I'm sorry, and then you're talking about unknown legal fees. It just seems to me before we go down this road, we need to know more about the nature of the building, how this has progressed or hasn't over this time, and more of a rationale for the entire project. And this agenda item is so isolating that I'm not even sure we can talk about that stuff today because it just talks about eminent domain. But that's my biggest issue. The other issue, of course, is again the issue of the open meetings law and how, and actually the Attorney General has a new document dated March 2025, which I encourage you all to read because he's actually strengthened it a little bit in this regard, that when an item is on the agenda, it should be specific enough that the citizens can know what it is that is being talked about. And this one, I mean, it's better than some, but it doesn't talk about the nature of the project or where it is. And unless someone goes into the details of this resolution, one would not know that. And I'm telling you right now, I talked to a lot of people since I saw this on the agenda, and no one knows anything about this. So we're in the same boat that we were when the resolution came through on the, or the ordinance came through on the unhomed that was voted on in action on council before there was really chance to input it. And I think that that's a mistake by council, that we really do want public input and a chance for the community to talk about this and figure out what the issues are before we start resolving to spend these kinds of funds and not knowing what the future would bring. Would that mean that the building would be developed? Does it mean that it would be demolished? Does it mean that we'd be working with the owner in the meantime to try to figure out a good resolution to move that building into reuse? I don't know if you guys heard it yet, but there was, on the news yesterday, there was a story about 2 of our veteran homes in the state of Wisconsin closing and only 1 remaining. There are all kinds of discussion of cool ways to use this property if it was to be utilized, and I'm not sure any of that's ever been discussed with the owner or publicly in a group. And I know there are many people that are interested in seeing this building hit the dust, but many of them have misinformation, like thinking that it's so dangerous that people are going to fall through the floors or that this guy hasn't been paying his taxes. All that has to be clarified, and I suggest that we work with the owner to get into the building, to take architects and engineers through and decide how viable this building actually is before we move forward with a resolution like this, starting to spend money. I think that's all I want to say. Yeah, if the tiles are falling down, then we should see if the owner will fix that, or if the city needs to fix that and bill him for it, if there really is some dangerous stuff going on. And I don't think that's too much to ask in the meanwhile. That's the city's job. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We also have Shar Trotter, who wishes to speak on agenda item 5B.
Good evening. I don't know anything about the building, but I just wanted to give an idea in case this is something that could possibly happen with it. I do remember when I was younger, there was a beautiful kitchen in the front part of the building in the basement area. I want to say there were 2, but for sure 1. And I'm not looking as much as to save the whole building like the dormitory part, but that beautiful front part and the kitchen, if it's salvageable at all, I don't know. But I just wanted to read something. There's communities that support, they call them community kitchens or shared use kitchens. And I've been in the nonprofit world for probably 30 years. And it's always a challenge that if you want to do a fundraiser and you want to follow the rules of the city health department, that you have to be in a certified kitchen to produce your goods if it's food. And I thought that this might be, if it's salvageable and doable and affordable, that this might be something that could be looked into to make at least the kitchen part of it salvageable. And I just wanted to say that when I was looking, a city as small as Manitowoc, Wisconsin even has one. And this isn't like large New York City, Chicago type things, even though they are there, of course. But just Googling Madison, Wisconsin, Manitowoc, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, that are close by. But this would be a wonderful opportunity for nonprofits in our community to be able to use a certified kitchen, if that would be a possibility. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, that ends our audience comments. So we will move on to our action items. Action item A is Class B fermented malt and Class C wine license. Limited liability company Nori Fond du Lac LLC, agent name Wen Kai Wang, doing business as Nori Sushi and Grill, business address 836 West Johnson Street, and our introduction is by our city clerk, Ms. Hefter.
Thank you, President Brault. Nori Sushi and Grill has applied for a Class B and Class C wine license for their new location at 836 West Johnson Street. Background checks were done on the officers and the proposed agent, and city staff and alcohol license committee recommend approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Mullen, second by Mr. Godfrey. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Item B is Resolution Number 9202, a resolution of the City of Fond du Lac finding that a property is blighted as defined in Section 32.03, parentheses 6, parentheses A of the Wisconsin statutes, and finding necessity for eminent domain proceedings. Our introduction is by our City Attorney, Ms. Hoffman.
Thank you, President Brault. Is that better? All right, can you hear me now? Okay, very good. Thank you. This is the very first step in what will be quite a long process. All we're asking you to make a determination tonight is if the building that has had no occupants since 2000, and the fire was 10 years ago, and it remains basically in the same state it was from the fire. There's been some temporary repairs made, but nothing since. Whether it's sufficiently blighted that we don't see it being ever repaired or fixed, such that the city needs to step in and do something about it. So that's what we've brought here tonight. Just the resolution, I mean, it's pretty clear there. It says who the owner is, which it is an out-of-state owner from California. It has the address, it has the legal description, the parcel identification number, so it's pretty clear which property we're talking about. So I don't think anyone would not know what the intent of this is. So what you would be doing is finding that it's blighted, and blight means it's dragging down the neighborhood. It's no longer a viable property. It's continuing to lose value. It's no longer a useful item, and it's become quite an attractive nuisance. I know we see multiple charges of people trespassing into that property coming through municipal court, and it is dangerous inside, and we were able to get authorization, it was probably 7 years ago, to inspect the property, and Excel Engineering did go through and do a thorough inspection, and the stairs aren't safe, the floor isn't safe, it's not safe for people to be in there, and I'm afraid a teenager will think it's funny to break in there and get hurt, and the owner has taken minimal steps, but again, he's out of state. It's not going to get better. The windows are broken out again. It's time for the city to do something about it. So that's why I brought this. There's no decision being made about what will happen to the property. We don't own the property right now. It's owned by an owner in California. This would be the very first step in us going forward with eminent domain, which is when a municipality or a government takes property for a public purpose, and our public purpose is it's blighted property and it needs to be rehabilitated and made useful again, as opposed to being a blight in the neighborhood. And we pay the owner for the property. It's not like they lose it and are not paid. They're fully compensated. There's an appraisal done. They can contest the appraisal, have their own appraisal. It's all statutory how it is handled. They have all their rights will be, carefully guarded and taken care of as part of the process. So anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions, but I'd ask that you approve this tonight.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from council? We'll start with Ms. Leering.
Okay, I have quite a few questions. I apologize, but because this is an action item and not an input item, I just have a lot of questions, and I feel that, number one, it should have been an input item because it's been several years since this was discussed. And I just feel like we're not, being on city council, we should really, follow, I just feel we're not transparent enough sometimes, and we need to give citizens some notice of things that we're doing in the community, especially considering what happened with our park. I feel like this needs to be further discussed to ensure that we're doing what we need to do to preserve historic buildings. I'm going to ask a few questions and then I'll make my other comments. So in 2010, the building was on both the state and national register. Is it, the building, does it have, I don't think it has any local, it wasn't designated locally, but is that still, does that still stand? Is it still on the state and national register?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay. And it's supposedly difficult to take historical designations off of buildings, and so there has to be some pretty significant criteria for taking them off the register. And I'm just wondering if we're able to provide the public, like online or, you know, even council members with these documents, because I feel that's important. So in 2021, the federal court sided with the owner to allow the building to not have the building raised. The owner made repairs. I think a crew of about, I don't know, I read somewhere that a crew of 12 people came in, contractors, and they worked on the roof, they worked on the floor, and then they just secured the overall structure to make it safe. Currently, I noticed there is work going on. I did notice some things, you know, bushes were taken down, a fence was put up. There was some work going on inside because you can see it right in the front window. So I don't really know what's going on with that. I don't know if the city has any information on that. I don't believe that.
No building permits were pulled.
Okay, because I saw somebody putting in, and I don't know what it is, but it could have been there, but it was like, it looks like drywall, or I don't even know what it is. It could be plywood, but I noticed in the window something I never noticed before, and it could be because the bushes and things have been taken down, and that's why it looks like there's work going on, but I do think that people have noticed there is something going on at that building. I also don't agree. I am really, so I feel like the citizens do have a right to not have things sitting in their neighborhood, and I feel like a lot of people have to put up with a lot of stuff in this city that they shouldn't have to on their properties. But this neighborhood, I don't believe this building brings it down. The neighborhood, I mean, you can drive by. There's been a lot of complaints coming from nearby that particular building. I don't want to see anybody getting hurt either. It can happen in any building. There's a building on the edge of town that people were going in and doing all kinds of crazy stuff too. I just feel it's really important that we do what we can to protect historic buildings, and that we do it the right way, and that we allow the public, because it's been a while, to comment or to come in and have a say about what's going on with this building.
There would be a full process regarding the historic. The last time this went through, there was a full hearing, and people were able to comment. So that all that process would have to be gone through again. So, like I said, this is the very first step in what would be a long process.
Okay, so I don't know, like, I just feel like we should have just a little bit more. I know you want to get this going. It's been sitting there. I just feel like we really need to put on the brakes just a little bit.
Mr. Mullen.
When did the current owner purchase the building?
2006.
I'm sorry?
2006.
2006. So it's been almost 20 years.
Correct.
So he's had 20 years to do something with this building and has not done it. Meanwhile, the building is deteriorated. I mean, I don't know, we all saw the video of the fire 10 years ago. I'm surprised the thing is still standing. We were briefed, perhaps before you were on council, about the repairs that were done, which were inadequate, and the engineering report. It's pretty clear that this owner has no intention of doing anything with this building. You know, he's out of state, it's out of mind. You know, if he would sell it, that would be great, you know, and maybe somebody would do it. I love old buildings. I'd love to see him do something with that. keep a portion of it anyway. But the owner, the current owner of that building, I don't think he has any intention of doing anything with it. He's had 20 years, to do something with it. And now it was so badly damaged in the fire that the cost to turn it into something, to restore that, is going to be far more than it's worth. I just don't think he's interested in doing that. I wouldn't be. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Schisler.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the city staff for working on this the last 10 years in different forms and fashions and theories. And now we're here with this eminent domain, which I fully support. I think there's nobody on the council who's more in favor of historic preservation than I, but this really has to move forward. I also want to thank, going back, the Fond du Lac Fire Department for, there was a very dangerous situation, and all the other, how many departments responded to that fire, Chief? 10, and I'm grateful for that service as well, and this is just the first step in this particular legal effort, but I support this, and I will support all future steps. I will vote yes for Resolution 9202.
Thank you. Ms. Leering for a second opportunity.
Just wanted to respond. Thank you for allowing me to do that too. I just wanted to respond. I understand, like, the fire is not the owner's fault. I don't know what's going on with the owner. I don't know. I know that he was hard to get a hold of. I've read things about that. I don't know what's going on with him currently, if there's a financial situation going on. I saw the fire too. I was actually there watching it, and I remember all of that. I do feel, though, that I'm not saying that the building shouldn't, it shouldn't be torn down. I just feel like we need to cool our jets a little bit, just a little bit, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it is a historic building. It was a beautiful building. The front part of it would be nice. I don't know if we even tried working with the owner, offering him anything, any kind of grants or loans, or offered to help the owner preserve this building, because I don't know the details of all of that, because I wasn't on council then, and there's no way for me to find that information. But I feel like we could have done a better job maybe with that. I can't say we didn't, because I wasn't on council. But did we exhaust everything we could to help the owner with this building? And after that fire, there were contractors, again, that did go in there and tried to make the building sound. That's it.
Ms. Hoffman or Ms. Benson, would you mind just responding to, because I think there was a question in there.
But I wanted to make a motion too, and I don't know when I would do that, like for this.
Okay, well, did you want an answer to like kind of some of the history of maybe past efforts with this particular property?
We did try and negotiate with them and spent months trying to reach an agreement and coming up with a plan for how they would rehabilitate the building. And in the end, they refused to make an agreement with the city.
All right, and it would be in order if you wished to make a motion.
So my motion is just to hold this for 6 weeks, and then put it in as an action item.
All right, so we have a motion to table the item for 6 weeks. Do I have a second? I'm sorry, that motion will fail due to no second. So
Motion to approve 9202.
we have a motion from Mr. Heisler to approve the resolution.
Second.
And I have a second from Mr. Godfrey. Mr. Godfrey, you're next in the queue. Would you like to make some?
First of all, Diane, thank you for educating me on this entire process. I wasn't on council either, but I do appreciate the information that you gave me and to educate me a little bit When I started reading the agenda over the weekend, I wanted to get a better feel of what this building looked like, because I hadn't looked at this building in quite some time. And I took multiple pictures from the outside of this building. This building, it's in horrible condition. It is. I mean, city has tried to work with the current property owner on this property to bring it up to code to rehabilitate this. And then I started doing my own research on things that the city has done in the past. I was not aware of a judgment that was done. So, what was that, 2021 that was done? This current owner had brought this property 20 years ago, which I just found that out. I'm sitting here. And with all efforts to the city to work with this owner currently to bring this property up to code or to rehabilitate it. I mean, my looking at this building the other day this thing got hoses and pipes and all different types of things hanging out of the window. From what I saw, that parts of the building is starting to go into it. I mean, I'm no engineer and I don't know much about a lot of this stuff, but anybody can walk past that building at any point and something can fall and hurt an innocent person. So I just don't see furthering this particular resolution another 6 weeks will change the owner of this property's mind or whatever it's going to do. I mean, I fully support moving forward with this resolution, and I will be voting yes on this resolution. Thank you guys again for all of your hard work and everything else.
Thank you. All right, I'm not seeing anybody else in the queue, so I'm just going to jump in here because, Ms. Leary, I understand the point that you're making about wanting more time on this, but I think some of the other council members have made the point that there has been a lot of time spent already on this property. Right, and I understand that you want the public involved, but Ms. Hoffman, as you said, this is not determining any use for the building, any future, we're not talking about demolishing the building, we're not talking about renovating, we're just talking about forwarding the process for eminent domain to have the city potentially purchase the property from the owner, correct? Right, so my understanding then is that we'll have plenty of time for the public to be engaged, because I guess my question is, so if this would all go through and the city would purchase the property, who would determine the use of the property? It would be the city council or? Right, so eventually it would come to city council, perhaps not the current city council because it might take a while, correct? Correct. So we do still have actually quite a bit of time. This isn't the end of this conversation, it's really just the beginning. And the other thing I did want to add is that, that's my neighborhood. I live the next street over, so I walk past that property a lot. And as Mr. Godfrey was just saying, it's a beautiful, beautiful building. It's got good bones. It's sad that it got into the state that it is, but it's not just the fire. There's been vandalism. There's windows that are broken. There's damage that we can't even necessarily see because it's not even really safe to enter that space. So it's really unfortunate, but and we're also talking about, safety to the neighboring properties with tiles falling off the roof. We've had children that have broken into that space and could have been seriously injured. So it's a matter of safety for our community as well. So I think knowing that we are not making any determinations right now for the use of the building, we just want to make sure that we are moving forward with a building that has been in limbo for such a long time for our community. I think we need to move forward for not just the neighborhood in that area, but our whole city who wants to see something happen with that property. So are there any other questions or comments from council? I am not seeing any, so we will move. Oh, sorry, I'm Ms. Leary. Yep.
I understand the issues of safety. It's been 20 years. I just feel like another 4 or 6 weeks is all that's it. But anyways, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, we will proceed to vote. All right, and the motion carries with 6 in favor and Ms. Leering voting nay. That ends our action items, so we'll move on to the presentation of input items. And we have the Department of Public Works construction update presented by Director of Public Works, Mr. DeVries.
Thank you, President Brault. And thank you, City Council, for this brief opportunity to update you on the projects. Want to first off and say thanks for the support you've provided in last year's budget and CIP for the projects that I'm going to just highlight, and then for ongoing support of CIPs going forward. You've done a great job at working with city staff, Joe and Tricia, and managing our finances well to get done what we need to get done. So right now, the pavilion parking lot's on your upper left, and that's not easy to get to because there's a lot of construction equipment by the bridge and trucks and different things. But that was completed a few weeks ago. Great thing there is we were able to add 12 parking stalls, including a couple new handicap stalls right by the entrance. So that's a great improvement there. It'll complement the bridge, which you see on the other two pictures there, the Proman Arch Bridge. As you can see, the lower picture, we're trying to preserve some of the aesthetics of the previous bridge. So that's proceeding on schedule, finished up in late October, early November. The other thing with that is we're adding some width to the sidewalk on the north side. So we'll be able to add a kind of a trail, pedestrian type bike trail on the north side from the bandstand all the way out to the lighthouse now. So that'll be a great addition there as well. Move to the next slide, please, Maggie. Thank you. Of course, in the upper left, not a great picture, but that's taken by me, and my wife says I don't take good pictures, so that's my fault. Sorry. That's Main Street, and I think we all know Main Street underwent the rehab this year, and by all aspects, it was tough, and access was an issue at times. The businesses did a great job at promoting themselves. DFP did a great job at helping them with that. I think our construction company, Northeast Asphalt, really hit the mark on it with Baumhart as another local company here that did a lot of the work. That was a tough project, and they did a great job. There are definitely hiccups along the way, which happens in every construction project, but we managed to work through those. So thanks to all those groups that have helped with that. And the internal city team as well. We hired a consultant. Kunkel Engineering did a great job. The public works staff, Diane Benson, Tricia Davey helped with communication and getting that conduit to the business owners. And we really had a pretty good team on this. And it turned out, a week or 2 weeks ago from yesterday, we got that open, and that's a great thing. Other pictures there, the lower one is just Camelot Drive. If you've been out by Grande and SSM out there, that was redone just recently, repaved, needed it pretty bad going up to 151. We also repaved with our mill and overlay projects, Peters Avenue by Sabish Middle School. That also needed it pretty bad as well. So we got some major streets done there. Upper right, Lincoln Stormwater Pump Station. While there's a crane there, you can't see a great picture of it, but one of the features we did try to highlight with this is making it look like it fit in the neighborhood. We didn't just make it a typical municipal brick stone building that, looks like a government building. We're trying to make it look like it fits in the neighborhood. Just a small part of that project, but an important one because that's going to really improve the stormwater capabilities in that area. You can move to the next one, please. And then another one kind of behind the fence, wastewater. So as you're fully aware, the biosolids dryer and RNG project, renewable natural gas, are underway. And those are some big dollar items, but they also have some big returns for us as far as
reusing what we're producing there. As far as natural gas, we're going to inject that back into the pipeline, sell it to Lion Energy through a third-party like credit process, which I don't fully understand because it's new to me, but there's a lot of companies out there that are looking to support that type of effort. And then the biosolids as well, that'll be some better quality material for us to either dispose of or maybe possibly sell at some point in the future. And those projects are ongoing, got a completion date sometime, late next year, but big projects out at wastewater. And while you can't necessarily see them if you're driving by, I'm sure Cody Shepke would take you on a little tour where it's safe if you ever wanted to go check it out. Next, please. And then finally, parks. We did the ribbon cutting for Buttermilk and Russell with the playground equipment, which is great. We have another one that I don't have a photo of, but Lakeside Park right by the splash pad just got put up by Burke, who's a great partner of ours. We got that surface poured this past week and restoration done, and that'll be open in a few weeks. That'll be a great complement to where that area is by the splash pad in Lakeside Park. And then we resurfaced Buttermilk tennis courts. And then, of course, in the lower right, we have our storage building that unfortunately had the fire last year. Got that redone, and we're pretty close. We got the contractor all kind of sealed up, and we're just getting ready to start using that again. And that'll be a great thing for the Parks Department there. So with that, it's just a few highlights that I wanted to share. Given this time of year, some projects completed, you get questions from the public, what's going on with this or that. And certainly if there are those questions, you can feel free to reach out to me directly and ask me anything about what the status of a project is, and I'll get you an answer for either you or the residents. But with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council? Mr. Mullen.
I had a question. When are you going to be able to drive through the park again?
The Proman Bridge is scheduled for the end of October, early November. So, and they're making great progress. So there's nothing been holding them up at this point. So I have no reason to doubt that schedule would change at all.
Yeah, I was over there just a couple days ago, walking around, looking at everything. I mean, it's nice to finally have, the parking lot at the pavilion done and that point cleaned up. That's going to be very nice. And then on the waste treatment projects, you see that's going to be late 2026.
Yeah, they kind of staggering into 26, like mid to late 26, and it all kind of happens, at different points in time. Like some of it will be finished, but then other parts will need some cleanup as you get towards the end there.
But the biosolids dryer, the gas.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all the equipment's on site, ready to go. It's just, there's a lot of work that has to go into it.
Okay. All right. I think that's it.
Thank you. Well, I do have a question. I hear from neighbors and other, residents in the city. Sometimes they wonder, like, how do they find out if a street's going to be closed, or say like a lane on Johnson Street, or is there a good place that people should be looking for updates on construction in the city?
Yeah, so we do put out a weekly construction update every Thursday or Friday that has closures, or like today I just received one for East 9th Street. The water utility needs to do some work next week. So we either put them out separately for closures, or we do a weekly update, and that goes to all our media partners, and then also gets put on our social media page, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff as well. So that would be the best place to look for those types of updates.
Great. And then the one other comment I wanted to make is, just this past week, there was the work done on my street for the lead pipe replacement. And I just want to give a compliment for how great that the crews they came in, they know exactly what they're doing, and it was quick and painless mostly. I mean, I don't know, I wasn't doing the work, so maybe it was painless for them, or painful for them, I don't know, but, because they had to get in the basement and pull all those pipes in, but like, I was really impressed. I thought, they were gonna have to do like trenches down our front yards, or, that they were able to just access from this area by the street and the terrace and get in there and start replacing those lead pipes that we need to make sure we have safe and clean drinking water. So it's great that those projects are moving forward and there's crews throughout the city.
Yeah, we did get a good contractor on that, and they've been around the block, so they know what they're doing. That we're doing 350 plus of the private side, this year, and then we have even more planned for the next 2 years while funding's available. Then after that, we'll have to see when the funding is, but we certainly being really aggressive with that program.
And it's much appreciated, so thank you. All right, I am not seeing any other questions or comments from council, so thank you so much for the construction update. And with that, that ends our input items, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second. Motion by Mr. Zimmerman, second by Mr. Heisler. This is not debatable. Please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. We are adjourned.